In the bustling streets of Accra, where vendors lined the road with their colorful stores, one seller stood out among them all, Davy, the bean seller. Her store was always crowded with eager customers waiting to get a taste of her famous gobe, steaming beans served with gari and fried plantains. The locals swore by its taste, saying it was the sweetest beans they had ever eaten. People traveled from far and wide to buy her food, claiming that no one in the city could match the flavor of Davy's gobe. Davy was a mystery to many. She was soft-spoken and polite, but kept to herself, never revealing the secret of her recipe to anyone. No one knew what made her food taste so good, but they all agreed it was magical. Among her many regular customers was Amma, a young woman who had her own dream of opening a food business. Amma admired Davy's success and desperately wanted to know her secret. She believed that if she could learn what Davy was doing, she could start her own successful bean stall and finally make enough money to take care of her family. One afternoon, after purchasing her usual plate of gobe, Amma decided to follow Davy. She wanted to see what went on behind the scenes, how Davy prepared her food, and more importantly, the secret ingredients that made it so irresistible. She stayed at a safe distance as Davy closed her store for the day and began walking home. Davy lived in a small house at the edge of the market, and once she arrived, she entered the kitchen. Amma found a hidden spot near the window where she could spy without being noticed. As she peeked inside, she saw Davy preparing the beans for the next day. At first, it looked like a normal routine. Davy washed the beans, measured the oil, and chopped the onions. But Amma's heart skipped a bit when Davy did something unexpected. Davy, her face expressionless, took the beans into a small private room connected to her kitchen. Amma leaned in closer, her curiosity piqued. She watched in shock as Davy undressed herself and crouched over the bowl of beans, washing her private parts directly into the beans. Amma's eyes widened, her stomach turning, but she didn't move. She had to know more. A few minutes later, Davy came out of the room as if nothing strange had happened. She placed the beans back into the stove and continued her preparation. Then she went to a small cupboard where she pulled out a bowl of cooking oil. Ame's heart pounded as she noticed the oil had a strong reddish tint to it. Davy opened the bottle and without hesitation poured some of her menstrual blood into the oil. She stirred it slowly, humming a soft tune under her breath. Amma couldn't believe what she was seeing. She felt nauseous, her body trembling in disgust and disbelief. She had expected to find some special herbs or spices that made David's being so sweet. Instead, she had uncovered a horrific secret. In that moment, Amma knew she could never eat David's food again. She backed away from the window, her heart racing, and quickly fled from the house, determined to warn the other women in the market about what she had seen. But as she ran through the street, her mind raced with fear and confusion. Davy had been selling her beans for years, and no one had ever suspected a thing. What would happen if the truth came out? Amma decided to tell only a few close friends, hoping they would spread the word without it coming back to her. Soon, the whispers started quiet, fearful conversation in the market about Davy and her beans. Some believed the rumor, whilst others laughed them out, saying it was impossible for a kind woman like Davy to do such a thing. But over time, fewer and fewer people came to Davy's store. The crowd that once lined up for her gobe slowly disappeared, and Davy herself began to notice the change. One day, as she was preparing to open her store, she found herself alone with no customer in sight. She overheard some women in the market whispering about witchcraft and strange practice, and Davy realized that her secret had been uncovered. Though Davy never confronted anyone about it, she knew her time in the market was over. The magic that had drawn people to her had finally turned into a curse, and as she packed up her stall for the last time, she disappeared from the market, leaving behind only the memory of her once famous gobe. The women in the market never spoke openly about Davy again, but the story of her secret, washing her private parts in the beans and using her menstrual blood for the oil, lived in a hard stone. And though many refused to believe it, no one dared to take the risk of eating gobe from another unknown seller ever again.